I did intermittent fasting for 6 years, and while initially it benefited me, in the long run, it wrecked my health. Fasting has been practiced by humans throughout history for various spiritual, health, and cultural purposes, though in recent decades, there's been a renewed interest in fasting for health reasons.
The latest diet craze to sweep the nation called intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
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 Fasting plays a large part in preventing diabetes.
It's a great way to lose weight. After all, if you don't eat, you're going to lose weight.
Researchers and health advocates have popularized intermittent fasting and other fasting protocols as potential strategies for weight management, metabolic health, and longevity.
It is fantastic for helping us lose weight.
Improving obesity, improving insulin resistance. People slept better, they felt more energetic throughout the day. Cellular repair in your body, break down toxins.
Do a longer fast, get more healing, get more autophagy.
However, there's always two sides to every story. And so while you may hear someone say that fasting is amazing for weight loss, it's a lifesaver, you may hear someone else saying that fasting is going to destroy your metabolism and tank your hormones. So which one is it? My name is Lillie. I'm a certified nutrition coach, and I actually practiced intermittent fasting for 6 years. So I'm going to talk about the pros and cons that I experienced and what ultimately led me to stop fasting. But more importantly, the goal of this video is to give both sides to the fasting debate, so that way you have more confidence on whether or not fasting would be beneficial for you. Let's first talk about why intermittent fasting would be great for weight loss, and then how people can gain weight intermittent fasting before we talk about hormones and metabolism. This is why intermittent fasting is great for weight loss. Because if I were to say you can eat as much as you want from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. versus you can eat as much as you want from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, you're likely gonna eat more food when you got more time to eat it.
And the truth shall set you free.
It's that simple. So if I were to say you can only eat from 12 to 4, then what's gonna happen is when the clock strikes 12, you're gonna start eating and eating, but pretty quickly you're gonna get stuffed, because our stomachs can only handle so much food in one sitting. And so then you're like, all right, I'll take a little break, have my food digest a bit, and then I'll keep eating. But before you know it, it's 3:45, you're still stuffed, and so you're like, okay, I only get 15 minutes to eat more food, but I'm not even hungry. So I'll just have a small little something something. And that's why intermittent fasting is great for weight loss. And I put these little air quotes because it is not intermittent fasting that is making weight loss happen. It's calorie restriction that is stimulating weight loss. If for some reason people online don't like to say the reason why fasting helps with weight loss is because it's natural calorie restriction, but anytime you eat less food, you should lose weight.
Looked at these volunteers for 4 weeks. They did find that they had changes in weight, in body composition, a decrease in their abdominal and truncal fat content.
Why do you think that is?
Because they actually had 37% reduced calorie intake, even though they were in those 12 hours indulging in things like pizza and hamburgers.
If I ate a steak at 12 p.m. and I ate a steak at 4 p.m., I'd lose the same amount of weight if instead I ate the steak at 8 a.m. and a steak at 8 p.m. The body doesn't lose weight extra fast depending on the time of day. If I ate 2 steaks in one sitting in 10 minutes versus me having 2 steaks spread into 6 meals over the course of 10 hours, regardless, I ate 2 steaks. Same. Again, intermittent fasting does not cause weight loss. Calorie restriction creates weight loss. And it just so happens that when you tell someone to eat in a condensed window, they naturally calorie restrict because their body can only handle so much food in a given time.
Jordan fades back, swoosh, and that's the game!
Also, you may hear people say that intermittent fasting can help with weight loss because it improves insulin sensitivity, with the argument that if someone's eating more processed foods and carbs, rather than spiking their insulin multiple times a day, it would be more advantageous to shorten the eating window for when that person's going to eat those processed foods and carbs, spike an insulin high for a short amount of time, but then giving insulin a break for the other hours of the day. And that might be true. I wonder though, how much harder insulin has to work to bring down the big spike versus bring down some of the smaller but more frequent spikes. Regardless, I would argue what would help improve insulin sensitivity more is either 1, calorie restricting, or 2, changing the kinds of foods that someone's eating. For example, with calorie restricting, if someone's eating 2,500 calories of processed foods and carbs, then they could improve their insulin sensitivity by having 2,000 calories of processed foods and carbs. They could have those 2,000 calories in a condensed eating window, or they could have those 2,000 calories spread out throughout the day. Either way, having less of those processed foods and carbs should improve their insulin sensitivity. But people don't have to calorie restrict to improve insulin sensitivity. They could just change the kinds of foods they're eating. So rather than having 2,500 calories of processed foods and carbs, they could have 2,500 calories of steak. They could improve their insulin sensitivity more, having 6 meals a day of steak versus 1 meal a day of a lot of processed foods and carbs. Now, someone can absolutely gain weight intermittent fasting if they eat enough food in their condensed eating window. Now, the amount of people who do this is quite small, but I do have clients who come to me and they're eating 1 stick of butter, 5 eggs, 2 pounds of ribeye, and they're like, Lillie, I heard people online say if I eat 1 meal a day, I'll magically lose weight. And that's where I have to be the bad guy. This person may not be seeing weight loss because they're eating a lot more food than their body requires. They just so happen to be that unicorn who can eat a lot in one sitting.
That man ate all our shrimp and 2 plastic lobsters.
Tis no man, tis a remorseless eating machine. Arr.
So to recap on weight loss and fasting, most people, when they shrink their eating window, without even trying, they naturally calorie restrict and therefore they see weight loss. But for some people, even if they eat in a time-restricted window, they still can eat a lot of food and therefore gain weight. So when I'm working with clients and they ask if they should do intermittent fasting to lose weight, I say you don't have to do fasting to lose weight. It's up to you. But there are other health benefits to fasting that have nothing to do with weight loss. So let's talk about those.
Fasting and intermittent fasting can lead to great health benefits, cardiovascular benefits.
May prevent brain degeneration.
Decreases autoimmune disease.
Can stimulate autophagy.
Decrease inflammation, and in animal models, you even have increased longevity.
Firstly, my favorite benefit to intermittent fasting, not having to spend as much time in the kitchen, cooking and cleaning multiple meals. Yes, that's my favorite. And then also when I skip breakfast, I have more energy, I'm mentally more clear, and I'm more productive in the mornings because our bodies require energy to help with digestion. The blood from our brain goes into our stomachs to help break down the food. So some of the benefits to fasting is having more mental clarity, less brain fog, more energy, and just overall a more clear state of mind. Fasting is also known to stimulate a process called autophagy, which is the removal and recycling of old or damaged cells. By clearing out these dysfunctional components, autophagy helps support overall cellular health and immune system, which is why fasting has been linked to longevity. Fasting also gives our digestive tract a break, and specifically for people who have gut issues, by not eating, it gives the stomach time to repair, heal, and also reduce inflammation. So there's absolutely benefits to fasting that have nothing to do with weight loss and everything to do with just overall gut support, health, and longevity. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know I've been trying to get rid of dandruff, which I associate dandruff with a gut issue, and so I've been also trying to heal my gut, and I did do intermittent fasting for a long time. Didn't see too much help with that, but something I've been recently doing that's been helping my gut is adding colostrum into my diet. And today's video is sponsored by Colostrum, which can be taken when someone is fasting. Colostrum is incredibly nutrient rich. It's the first nutrition we receive in life that provides us all of the essential nutrients our body needs to create a robust immune system and strong gut. It also can help with reactivating hair growth and glowing skin. I started taking colostrum after hearing someone online talking about how it really helped with their gut health. And like I said, I've been trying to get rid of my dandruff and I've actually seen improvements. This means a lot to me. Again, this is not a supplement. Colostrum is a whole food. It's a superfood. You can get 15% off Armra by using the link in the description or by going to the URL try.armra.com/Lillie Kane. Now let's talk about the cons to fasting and how it can be destructive to someone's health and how it damaged my health. Most of my life, I grew up intermittent fasting and I didn't even know it. My mom used to have a rule that we had to stop eating by 7. And then I also just naturally wasn't much of a breakfast person. So I naturally grew up not having breakfast and finishing my meals before 7. I unintentionally was intermittent fasting and I unintentionally was in a calorie deficit most of my life. And as a result, I was underdeveloped. My jaw was very narrow. I had to wear a special retainer to open up my jaw and I had a headgear. I was the shortest person in my class. I started puberty late. I was the last one of my girlfriends to have her first menstrual cycle and an irregular one. So I grew up underdeveloped because I was undernourished. It wasn't until I went to college where I had the all-you-can-eat buffet, so like every day was Thanksgiving Day for me, and I ended up gaining 15 pounds my freshman year. Fast forward a year after I graduated, I naturally began intermittent fasting again because 1, I'm not much of a breakfast person, I'm just not very hungry when I wake up, but 2, I started eating more of what people call an animal-based diet. So I was having less processed foods, less sugar, and started having more protein, more meat, and that was very filling for me. I didn't track my food, I didn't track my calories, I just ate a meal at 11 and a meal at 5. I was satisfied, but I was significantly under eating. I ended up losing a lot of weight, but I mainly lost a lot of muscle. I went down to 100 pounds. People in my family were concerned and were asking me more questions. Technically, at that weight, I was considered anorexic. I was waking up cold all of the time. I was losing tons of hair. I was skipping a menstrual cycle, which back then, in my early 20s, I should have been super fertile. And so to not have a menstrual cycle is a huge red flag that something is off with my hormones. I like to compare our bodies to cars and food to gasoline. My body wasn't getting enough fuel. I was pretty much running on empty, and slowly my body was down regulating because our bodies use food, fuel, energy to do all of the functions it needs to do, like create hair. It uses fuel to create hair. It uses fuel to create a menstrual cycle. Our bodies like to remain at 98.6 degrees, and it does this by using fuel to generate heat. But if I don't have the fuel, it doesn't have the ability to give me the heat, which is why I was so cold. One day I ended up calculating my calories and I saw I was eating about 12 to 1400 calories when intermittent fasting. Again, technically not intermittent fasting's fault, but I just can't sit down and eat enough food in a short amount of time. And to this day, I have so many coaching clients who come to me who can't eat enough in their condensed eating window that I have to convince them to stop intermittent fasting. And I don't think that eating less food for a day, a week, a month, a few months is that big of a deal, but I have so many people who come to me who for years or for decades have been eating 1200, 1400 calories a day. And so their thyroid is tanked, hormones imbalanced, they're having adrenal issues, losing tons of hair, low testosterone, not sleeping, their cortisol is through the roof because their body's in a stressed state from not getting enough fuel. Fasting does add stress to the body, and I think a little bit of stress, like with exercise, can be helpful. But too much stress, like too much exercise, can do more harm than good. Hey, don't get me wrong. I've seen people use fasting to completely transform their health, to change their life, save people's lives. But I've also seen people use fasting to a point where it's so destructive. I've seen people think that if a little bit of fasting is healing, therefore a lot of fasting must be really healthy. If 12 hours is good, then 24 hours is even better, then 48 hours even more healing, and then it just kind of spiral holes and becomes too much. Now there's many people who do a lot of fasting and who eat 1 meal a day every day, and they have lots of muscle, they don't have hormonal issues, they're not losing their hair, they're sleeping great, because when they sit down to eat, they eat a ton of food. So it is possible to reap the benefits of fasting, like less brain fog, autophagy, more mental clarity, without having the loss of hair, loss of menstrual cycle, loss of testosterone, bone, muscle, energy, sleep, by eating enough in a condensed eating window. People just have to ask themselves, are they able to eat enough if they're going to fast, that they don't experience the negatives, but can reap the benefits? I'm not able to. I feel so stuffed. If I eat a lot in a short amount of time, I just can't eat enough. Whereas if I have smaller, more frequent meals, I find it's easier on my digestion. I actually find I have more energy. It's not worth it to me to have small benefits from fasting if I'm gonna experience a ton of negatives. I recognize many people are attracted to fasting as a tool for weight loss. And if someone's trying to lose weight, they do have to eat a little bit less, but they don't have to do fasting to lose weight. For example, if someone normally eats 2,500 calories a day, and now they start having 2,100 calories a day, they should see weight loss. They could have those 2,100 calories in a short amount of time. They could have those 2,100 calories spread throughout the day. Either way, they should see weight loss. Or I know many people who they would rather eat 2,500 calories 6 days of the week and then just not eat and fast 1 day of the week. Either way, both are having less. It's personal preference. Now I gotta throw it out there. I see a lot of people, when they're trying to lose weight, think they have to cut their calories in half or dramatically reduce how much they're eating, and they should only have to reduce it by a little. However, I work with many people who already are eating 1,200 to 1,400 calories, and they've been doing that for years or for decades. Their metabolism is so slow that at this point, they're not losing weight eating that small amount of food, and the only way they're gonna have fast weight loss results is to eat even less, and therefore have less vitamins, less minerals, less nutrients that their body so desperately needs to balance its hormones and to operate. So what I do with my clients who are in this position is instead I slowly increase how much food they're eating, boost their metabolism to a healthy amount of food, and then bring down their calories a little bit. And then they see weight loss at a higher number than what they're currently eating with this small amount of food. And I did a whole video where I talk about how to slowly boost metabolism, increase the amount of food someone's eating without gaining weight. And if you're interested in that, I'll link that in the description. Or if you'd like to talk more one-on-one, I do offer health coaching services, and I'll link that in the description as well. Don't be silly, subscribe to Lillie, and I'll see you in the next one.